Have you ever wanted to see inside a polygamous temple? Come along with me and I'll show you. Gospel Tangents is supported by users like you. Please support us at gospeltangents.com or on Patreon. Hey everybody, have you heard of the Christ Church Temple in, I'm going to say, Nevada? I'm going to get there. It's about a 7-hour drive, so the first thing I'll do is gas up, and we're on our way. So one of the interesting things about this trip is normally we take I-15 north and south, but due to an accident, they tell me that Redwood Road is going to be a faster way, but it doesn't look very fast right now, I'll tell you that. So there's a view a lot of people don't get to see. This is the west side of Utah Lake out here in Saratoga Springs. You can still see, even in the month of May, we have snow-capped mountains. You can see Utah Lake is a big lake. Okay, so as you can see here, it's a long road. Still can see Utah Lake. Just heading, basically this is a continuation on Redwood Road out into a small town called Tintic. It's a little mining town here. I thought it was pretty cool. The last time I came through here was when I went to Eskdale, and there was a biker rally. You can see a little skeleton biker on the right here, and it's just a cool little town. I've only been here twice, but it's got a cool main street and definitely a mining town of some sort. All right, we are in the metropolis of Delta, Utah, home of the Delta High School Rabbits, and it's actually a bigger town than I expected. So if you know Casey Griffiths, this is his neck of the woods growing up. All right, one of the things I should mention here about this, so this is Christ Church Temple, so I can't wait to see that. I understand from Christina Rossetti that you can see the baptistry, so hopefully I will get to see that. I don't know if they'll let me take pictures, or I will if I can. And but anyway, so we're going to go see Ann and Dan Hatch. They are the president and matron of the Christ Church Temple, or as the official long name of the church, the Righteous Branch of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, because, you know, our name, the LDS Church's name, isn't long enough. So anyway, so continuing on, here we go. So as you can see, it's a really long drive, and it's basically just a 2-lane road most of the way. I'm still in Utah at this point, but you can see going through different little roads here and mountain passes, and you know, it took about 7 hours to drive there. Sorry about my dirty windshield, but you pick up a lot of bugs along the way, and it's just a long drive. We're now in Nevada. This is what it looks like. Just thought I'd give you guys a quick rundown of the group that I'm going to see. The short name is the Righteous Branch. They're also known as Christ Church. So if you'll remember, a few weeks ago, we talked to Christina Rossetti, and she talked about the Apostolic United Brethren. So this group is kind of a break-off from them right before Reuel and Allred died. And by the way, you can see the beautiful sunset here. It's starting to get dark because it's a long drive there. But anyway, so Gerald claims ordination from Reuel and Allred, and we'll talk about that more next week with Dan and Ann Hatch. And so they started in April 6, 1978, and we're probably the first one of the fundamentalist groups to incorporate. So I know Dan and Ann thought that was pretty interesting. It's getting pretty dark, and we're going to come up on the town of Tonopah. And here we are in the big town of Tonopah, Nevada. There's the Tonopah Hotel, Hometown Pizza. So I'm hoping to meet Ann and Dan here. We're going to meet at Love's gas station. So maybe I'm going to clean my windshield while I'm at it, because pretty bad. All right, everybody, that truck in front of me is Ann and Dan Hatch. We're heading to, I can't remember the name of the place. But anyway, where they live, and they're the temple president and matron. And they said that beware of cows, because they're black cows, and at night they're very hard to see. And I said, oh yeah, I had a deer about 1.5 years ago, and it took me 6 months to get my car fixed. And Anne said that she hit a cow and it would total it. So definitely don't want to total the car or the truck. She said she did get her car back. So, and I think Dan said the same thing. So that was, so look out for cows. Now, one of the interesting things is you'll see this tower here. It's at night, and I'm going to show what it looks like in the daytime. Okay, so Dan and Ann told me that this bright light on the left side there, the big tower there on the left, is basically a power plant. Now, I didn't understand everything they said to me, but basically, they also said it lit up really bright, which when I saw it, it was at night, and so it wasn't bright. But now, yeah, there's basically a bunch of mirrors on the ground, which you probably can't see. They can't really see them either. But that tower has a bunch of salt, and they heat. The mirrors shine up on there where it's so bright, and it heats the salt up to 1,000 degrees or something, and it generates electricity somehow. So it doesn't make sense to me. But anyway, that's what that is. I remember thinking, what in the world is that big tower? It's about a 600-foot high tower. And so there you go. I didn't know you could turn salt into electricity somehow. And so now you can see those mirrors on the ground that are focused up there on that bright tower. And it's funny because when I saw it the other day, it was black, but with that bright top of the tower there, it looks white. Very bright. All right, we've arrived at Ann and Dan Hatch's house, and we're going to see the church and the temple. So there we have the church on the left, and then the temple on the right. It's all connected to this one building. So here you can see inside the baptistry in the temple. You can see they've got little oxen down there below the baptismal font. And so this is actually the area where we held the interview with Anne. Plus you can see that Star of David. All right, everybody, welcome back here. I'm actually in the library for Christ Church, the Righteous Branch, and I would like to introduce you to Ann and Dan Hatch. All right, so Ann and Dan, we've been here. I've spent the weekend with you guys. Can you give us a real short snapshot of what we've been doing here? And is it Round Mountain or Industrial City or 30 minutes from Tonopah?
30 minutes to Tonopah, out in Lower Smoky Valley. So we gave Rick a tour of our church and temple, well, part of the temple. And then we had a discussion about some of our tenets of our belief and our temple work.
Yeah. What do you have to add, Dan?
I don't have much to add other than we've shown Rick around a little bit. We took him into town and we even fed him.
Wow. So, fed me very well.
Authentic American Mexican food.
So we've got about a little over 2 hour interview with Ann and Dan. We'll talk more about that, but I was really surprised you guys are more strict than LDS on Word of Wisdom. We'll share more of that later. And then, can you tell us what are your positions here for Christ Church? You've got multiple.
Yes, members of our church have various hats that we wear, but I'm a temple matron. I teach Relief Society, and I work in this library and help with church history.
I'm the temple president. I'm one of the apostles here, and I'm actually even a member of the presiding bishopric.
Oh, I didn't know that.
As a counselor.
Well, cool. So it's been a super fun weekend. This is just kind of a quick preview for our interview next week, and we're going to talk. I was excited because, as they mentioned, we were in the temple, which you don't get to do in an LDS temple. So that was pretty cool, and so you'll see more about them. But I'm hoping, I think I might see. I got confused. I thought the Pyramid Temple was here. Pyramid Temple's in Paquin, which is by Modena, Utah. Thanks again for coming along the ride. It's been super fun, and I thank Dan and Ann for their wonderful hospitality. So it was super fun hanging out with Ann and Dan Hatch. They even said that I could go see the Pyramid Temple. You can see they actually gave me a model of the Pyramid Temple, and that's in Paquin near Modena. And so that's only a 4-hour drive from Nevada. So let's head to Paquin. Okay, so this is called Farm Dist Road. At first, I thought it was Farm Dust Road. I think it could go by either name. But yeah, this is basically, I'm just leaving the hatches, and you can see this is pretty desolate. Holy cow. And there goes a deer right there. Okay, so this is Tonopah. I can't remember. I think the Clown Motel. How about that? I think I did this, but it was in the nighttime last time. Now it's in the daytime, so you get to see Tonopah. This is the closest town, which is about 30 miles from. Well, it's funny because I think on Google Maps it called it Industrial City, and on my Google Watch it said Round Mountain. So they really live in the very middle of nowhere. But anyway, so I think if I'm trying to remember if they said if they had like Amazon packages, they would come to here to Tonopah, and because it's the closest town. And as you can see, nice little town here. Can't really complain. You can see the gas prices, about 75, 80 cents more a gallon here than in Utah, where I am, in Lehi. So anyway, here is Tonopah. Hey everybody, I just passed the Nevada-Utah border, and I saw the first sign for Modena, Utah, which is 9 miles away. So that's how close it is to the Utah border. It's just 9 miles away. So I'm excited to meet David Patrick, and he said John Peterson will be there too. So hopefully you'll get to meet one or both of them. So not far. It's been 4 hours, long drive. I made it, and I have here the president of the Quorum of 12 Apostles for Christ Church, and John Peterson, his nephew, Michael, is the prophet. And what's behind us, guys?
This is the Paquin Temple.
The Paquin Temple. Now, I thought this was in Modena, but Modena's like far away.
Yeah,
It's the next closest town,
about
right?
20 miles away.
Yeah.
And so also, we're going to, I don't know how much you guys are going to let me see, but we'll see. But behind us over here, what is that building?
That's a bishop's storehouse.
Bishop's storehouse.
And also upstairs, we would have meetings and events.
15 years.
Okay. So is it like a former church kind of?
Yeah, like a chapel.
Yeah.
Like a chapel. Okay.
Mhm.
Well, let's see what you can show me with this. And by the way, Anne gave me a 3D model of the temple, which I thought was
that's
really cool.
awesome.
And she told me I had to put it on my shelf behind me when I do my intro. So I'll be doing that. So you can see the 3D model right there. And so thank you, Dan and Ann. Just wanted to give a few kind of a recap of the trip. And of course, our next interview on Monday is going to be with Ann and Dan from inside the temple. So that's exciting. I was really surprised that they were more strict on the word of wisdom. A lot of times you hear that fundamentalists are less strict, but not only are they very LDS in their practices of no coffee, tea, alcohol, etc., but they don't eat chocolate. and they don't eat pork, which I was really surprised. So the other funny thing as you think about it, I remember when I went to Nauvoo and I thought, Joseph Smith, when he was coming out here, he always wanted to get away from everybody because, Nauvoo is like 3 hours from St. Louis. It's 3 hours from Chicago. It's like really remote. And it felt the same way with Christchurch because both Pequin, it's probably about 4 hours from Lehigh and about 4 hours from Round Mountain or Smoky Mountains, whatever you want to call that part of Nevada. It's unincorporated. They do have some county law enforcement there, I guess, but it really struck me, kind of modern day pioneers that they go in this really remote place. I'm sure people leave them alone because it's very, very remote. So it kind of brought me back to, the days of Joseph Smith. Obviously they didn't have paved roads, but anyway, it was very remote. So anyway, that was my quick tour of both the Nevada and Utah temples for Christchurch. And so want to thank Dan and Ann. And in our next episode, here's some things we're going to talk about.
At 14, what do? You go get your patriarchal blessing. And so I went and got my patriarchal blessing. And in my patriarchal blessing, I struggled a lot with my dad because he was inactive. And it talked about my dad, but it talked about how I would be in a family that would be basically living that someday. And so
Living polygamy?
Living polygamy.
Oh, really?
It indicated that to a degree. And so, and I was like, Mom, what is this really, talking about? Well, before I got there, I had a dream. I think I was 11 or 12 years of age. It was either right after I got into mutual or right beforehand. And I had a dream where I was in a family and there was more than one mom in the family. And that wasn't my family because my dad was inactive. And so I was like, what is going on with this dream? Or is it, did I see something or read something? I don't know. But that dream stuck with me.
Thanks for listening, and I hope you to continue to enjoy Gospel Tangents. Consider becoming a Patreon or go to gospeltangents.com/shop, and you can get a cool tie, a hat, or even a nice mug. You can also get a sweatshirt. So check it out at gospeltangents.com/shop.